Okay, so now let's take a look at what's happened in the shift editor. As an administrator for our organization, we can see that Barney has accepted all of the shifts for the month of March. And what's something that's interesting is notice that the icon has appeared once we create a recurring shift. There's a recurring shift icon. And notice that each one of the subsequent shifts now has a mark on it that um, is now indicating it's out of the recurring series. And the logic behind this is if we create a recurring series and then someone outside the organization engages with that and they've made a change to the status of that shift, it's immediately taken out of the series. The rationale being that if someone has gone and accepted that shift, I don't want to make now any changes to the entire series, and I shouldn't be able to do that. I would need to make them individually. So what's happened is they've all been taken out of the series. And what I'll do is I'll show you in a few minutes how we could add someone and still keep them in the series, but that would be a decision made by us. So first, let's go ahead and say if we've made a mistake or we need to cancel this entire shift, the series of shifts, let's go ahead and do that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the first one. And what I'll do is I'll just select all. I don't want to lose this shift. And let's go to the series and the warning that we're multi-editing. So let's go ahead and just put all of the appointments in design mode, and that will allow us to multi-delete. So now you can see that all of the shifts during the month, Barney is now back in design mode. Now, since we're still ready to edit, I can go ahead and delete those shifts. And the system will say, are you sure? And do I want to delete appointments? And of course I do. And now all of the shifts have disappeared. So if you do make a mistake, there are ways that are not hugely time consuming for you to be able to recover from that. And from a guy who's made a lot of mistakes in recurring shift series, that can be a really nice way to get out of trouble. So let's go ahead then and create another shift. Let's call this the PSW recurring, and I'm having trouble with my capital E's. So let's go ahead and set that again. Let's change it to April so that we can keep them a little bit straight. There we go, April 1st, 12 a.m. to 12 p.m., 12 p.m. to 12 a.m. Let's go ahead and do it this way. There we go. Okay, so now we've got a 12 a.m. to 12 p.m. to 12 a.m., a 12-hour shift. Let's just go with that for now. Let's say we need 3 people, and let's save that. Notice how the set recurrence is now available. Let's go ahead and recur that shift. Actually, again, before we do this, let's make sure that everything that we want is ready to go. And that's why I said beforehand, if we were to add someone to the shift, let's go ahead and add Barney. I can assign Barney to the shift, and since I'm doing that, when I recur it, it won't come out of the recurrence pattern. So I'll set him in accepted state. So what I've got now is a worker that I've accepted on their behalf, and I've put them in a recurred shift. So let's go ahead and recur that now and see what it looks like. Let's recur it every day just until the end of April 30th, 30 times, and let's see what that looks like. Okay, now we'll need to go till the end, April 30th. There we go. Now notice the worker in this case is in accepted state because I made that decision. No one else has engaged outside of the organization. In other words, as I said before, as soon as a worker engages, accepts, deletes, then that shift changes and is taken out of the series. But since I've actually put this person on, then in this particular case, I can still make changes to the recurring series and then save the series. There are many different situations where I may like to do it that way, but it's important that we understand as administrators that there are different ways of setting up recurring series and different ways of having those actually come out of the recurring series. Now, let's say there were a situation where I wanted to change Barney to another worker. if I take that person and affect that one shift, then notice it's now out of the series. And of course, I can put someone back in. In fact, I can put Barney back in, but there's still been a change made, which means any changes to the series will not affect that one particular shift. And I'm able to demonstrate that for you. Notice that the one shift was on the 19th of April. So let's go ahead and let's say we wanted to demonstrate that we can change colors. We'll change this shift to green. And what we'll find is if we change the series, we'll change every shift but that one that's out of the series. So we're looking for April 19th, waiting for the system to do all of the shifts. And we'll notice that that April 19th shift has not changed. Remember, it has been taken out of the series, so it does not get affected. So that's different ways that we can assign workers. And sometimes we're able to keep them in series, sometimes we're not, but it totally depends on how you'd like to do that as an organization.